All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all the praise and the glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rahak, Wadash, which I give me the spirit and the strength of this lesson. And also want to give double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well and that teach well through the spirit, through the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Wa Shalom, Wa Barakin to the elect, beginning with the 144,000, which I scattered abroad in every place, redeeming the time and ready to be saved. Shalom. All right, real quick, while the spirit is while the spirit is moving me to go into this topic, all right, I want to get into how, subscribing, unto this truth, joining, the body, all right, of Yahweh Shai, all right, brings us, results into salvation, all right. Simply put, it results into salvation, all right. And what is salvation? All right, because you got a lot of people in the world that don't truly know what salvation is. Okay? You have these Christians that believe that they already have salvation. They'll tell you in a minute. They'll tell you quick that they're saved. Okay? But you see, in order to be saved, you have to be saved from a detrimental situation, a life-threatening situation, all right? That's what salvation is, okay? We're not currently saved, all right? We're still here, you walk up the street, and you can't even walk up the street, all right? Without your life being in danger, all right? Hey, we're in the shadow of death. We're in the valley of the shadow of death, okay? You can't leave your door unlocked, all right? Someone could break into it, take everything that's in your belongings, including your life, all right? Because like the scripture said, man, like Yahweh Shai said, the love of many shall wax cold. And we are in those times, all right? So, how are we saved? All right? We still in Babylon the Great. We still in captivity, all right? But like I said, the true meaning of salvation is being saved from death, all right? Saved from destruction, all right? And that destruction is coming, via Yahweh Shai and nuclear destruction, all right? But being a follower of Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Alright. Being a follower of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, ultimately, leads to you being exempt from that destruction. Alright? And that's what I want to get into in this lesson. Okay? Because we're not in this thing of ours. We're not in this ministry. We're not doing the work for nothing. We're not laboring in vain, man. We're laboring so that we can ultimately be saved. All right? That's what we do this for. And also for those that are the ears of the body, because you have members of the elect that are not called to be servants. Salaki, called to be prophets, teachers, apostles. Right? But they will be saved via listening to the prophets. Believing on what the Spirit is saying through the prophets. Okay. Matter of fact, what was that? Start off with that. That's why it's so important to teach the correct doctrine. All right. What did Paul say? The gospel. This is the gospel. He referred to this truth, to the gospel of your salvation. All right. You see, so this gospel has been imparted unto you is your bridge to being saved. Okay. All right. Let me see. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 16. It says, take heed unto thyself, all right, and unto the doctrine. All right. Make sure that you're teaching the right things. It said, take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine. That's right. Continue in them. For in doing this, thou shalt both save thyself. You see that? Thou shalt both save thyself, right, and them that hear thee. You see? And them that hear thee. So, we have to make sure that, those that are listening, we have to be, we have to consider those, we have to consider the great cloud of witnesses, man. Because we are set up to be their leaders. All right? And we don't want to lead them astray because because that could that's harming the the believers. Lock it. Let me get my words out. All right. Once again, take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine. Continue in them, for in doing this thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee. You see? So it's like it. Doing what we do, which is teaching the correct doctrine, teaching the truth, is going to ultimately result in salvation. All right? Salvation. All right? I'm going to get Psalms, the 91st chapter. It's locked in, man. Allergies, man. I'm really feeling kind of jacked up right now. The elements is, being a burden on the human flesh, man. Let's see, Psalm 91. Psalm 91. All right. And you know what? We can start from the top. We're going to start from the top. It says, security of the one who trusts in the Lord. That's right. And that Yahweh. All right. See that? Security of the one who trusts in Yahweh Shema Shah. Security from what? From the harm that's coming. All right. It says, verse 1, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That's right. You see that? Shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. All right. Now, let's read that again. It says, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. Now, what is that secret place? Okay. What is that secret place? Well, that secret place is a dark saying for this truth. All right. Because it's secret, because it's exclusive. Okay. Meaning it's not open to the masses of the people on the planet Earth. All right. That's the secret place. All right. So once again, it said, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty, his protection. All right. You're going to be protected. All right. That's the protection of the Most High. That's the shadow, being under the shadow of the Almighty. That's another way of saying you're going to be protected by the Almighty. All right. Okay. Which no spirit, no man can penetrate. That fortification. All right. It says, because Esau is going to come down with great wrath, as is written in Revelation 12 and 12. All right. But if you in this truth, you are the elect, you're going to abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Okay. Let's move on. He says, I will save the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shah. He is my refuge. That's right. He is my refuge and my fortress, my power. In him will I trust. Right. That's who we put our faith in. Okay. read that again. He said, I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge. All right. And my fortress. All right. He's going to protect us. All right. And he's going to do that via the angels. All right. Matter of fact, just want to, go into the Hebrew a little bit. Get that word refuge.
Strong's H4268. Machseh. Machseh.
That's right.
Second entry.
Okay.
Machseh. Machseh.
Right. It says refuge, shelter from rain. Look, this is the shelter. From rain or storm, from danger. All right. Which is symbolic for those missiles. The rain, storm. The rain, you can relate that to the missiles. All right. All right. It says a falsehood. Yeah, because, he's also protecting us, from these, these false doctrines, man, these false philosophies. All right. But moving forward, it says, trust. Matter of fact, let's see, get the root. It says to seek refuge, flee for protection, right? To put trust in the Most High, confide or hope in the Most High. That's right. So there you go. That's what that means. We put our trust in Him. Because He's going to protect us. Okay. So that's what it means. Once again, it says, I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my power. In Him will I trust. That's right. In Him will I trust. Okay. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler. That's right. And from the noisome pestilence. That's a dark saying for those missiles. The noisome pestilence. Okay? And from the noisome pestilence. You see? Man, but let me start from 2 again, because this is beautiful, man. He said, I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my power. In Him will I trust. That's right. Surely, and what what is He going to deliver us from? It says, surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler. All right, so He's going to protect you from, the snare of the fowler, which can relate to the MOTB, the RFID chip. All right, that's the snare of the fowler. Okay. All right. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. Right. He shall cover thee with His feathers. Right. And under His wings shalt thou trust. All right. That's a dark saying for those chariots. All right. The so-called spaceships. Right. That's how you're going to be delivered from the noisome pestilence. All right. All right. So once again, read that again. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. That's right. And how is He going to do that? He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. That's right. So that's what's going, those chariots. Okay? It says, now check this out. His truth. His truth. Now what is his truth? What is his truth? What's being proclaimed, what's being imparted, unto you, beginning with the apostles on down, Great Millstone. All right. It said his truth shall be, man, this is beautiful. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. You see that? His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. All right? Which a shield and buckler, that's a defense. All right? That's a defense. Okay? So yeah. So you had his truth. Can't nothing penetrate you. Okay? That's like it. So once again it says, his truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. Once again, those missiles. It's those missiles. Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness. All right. Nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. What is the destruction? That's those missiles. All right. That wasteth at noonday, which is Esau being in the height of their rulership. All right. That's what that means. Okay. It says, verse 7, 8,000. Now let's go. Now I'm reading this because it's gonna show why you're going to be exempt, from this destruction. All right. So it said 8,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. That's right. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. That's right. You see that? Now, this is why. Because, verse 9, this is why. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. Talking about this truth, man. All right. I'm going to read that again. Because thou hast made the Lord. So you're going to be delivered from all of this. All right. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. That's right. You're dwelling in this truth. This truth is your dwelling place, man. Therefore, you're going to receive salvation. All right. It says, there shall no evil befall thee. You see that? There shall no evil befall thee. Neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. You see that? Neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. And those missiles are also known as plagues. All right? neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. All right, and it says, verse 11, for he shall give his angels charge over thee. Yep, the angels are constantly watching over, the members of the elect. All right, to keep thee and all. Let me read that again. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. See, they're always protecting, the elect. All right. Verse 12, they shall bear thee up in their hands. You see that? They shall bear thee up in their hands. Yeah, those chariots. Okay, that's a dark saying. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Okay, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. All right, and it says, verse 13, thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample underfoot. Yep, and that's going to the spiritual power. All right, that a man of the Lord is going to receive to execute upon the wicked, these Edomites, man, these wicked, and these other nations. Verse 14, it says, because he has set. Now listen to this. It says, because he has set his love upon me. Because he has set his love upon me. That's right. Yeah, because you look, this is what we're infatuated with. For lack of better words, we are in love with this truth. We are in love, with the Heavenly Father's, Yahweh Shemel Shah's work. All right, we are in love with this, man. Okay. So once again, he said, because he have set his love upon me. Our love is not into these women. I mean, the brothers that have wives, you love your woman, but we're not in love with them like we are in this truth. All right. So he said, because he has set his love upon me. Whew. Therefore, and how do you know if you love? It shows through your actions. The passion that you have for this truth shows through your actions. You've been, fervent, diligent. That's showing your love. All right. Pretty much, just, constantly, watching these brothers' videos and apostles' videos, engaging, with brothers, constantly, discourses, this is, and that frequently, that's love, man, that we have. All right, it said, because he has set his love upon me. Yeah, because you have done that, therefore will I deliver him. You see that? Therefore will I deliver him. Okay? It says, I will set him on high because he hath known my name. See? So, and when you go into that word known, when it said, because he hath known my name, read that again. He said, I will set him on high. because and that's literal too. All right, because when the elect is delivered, they're going to be in the heavens. You know, upon the ozone layer. That's them being set on high. All right. He said, "I will set him on high because he have known my name." All right, let's get that word known, because it goes deeper. All right, than what it seems. It says,
Strong's H 3045. Yadah. Yadah.
right? It says to know, to learn, to know, to perceive, to recognize, admit, right? Admit that the true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh and His Son's name is Yahweh Shai. Acknowledge, confess, all right? To consider, to be made known, right? Be or become known, be revealed, to make oneself known, to receive, to be instructed. That's right. To make known, declare, and that's what we're doing. All right. So it's more than just knowing the name. It's about declaring it. You know, confessing it. All right. Look what it says. It said to know, to acknowledge, to show, to tell, to declare, to teach. You see that? So that's what it means when it says, because he had known my name. All right. You know, you acknowledging, confessing those names. All right. So let's get John, St. John, chapter 5 and 32. 24, Salaki. All right. This is Yahweh Shah speaking. And it says, St. John chapter 5, verse 24. It reads, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on me, so like, let me read that again. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation. You see that? And shall not come into condemnation. So this is talking about the Yahweh Shah was referring to the elect right here. All right? Because the elect will be the only ones that's passed over. All right? When Yahweh Shah brings this destruction. Okay? So I'm going to read that again. It says, Verily I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me. Right. And believeth on him that sent me. And who sent Yahweh Shah? It wasn't Jehovah. It wasn't Yahweh. It wasn't Allah. All right. It was Yahweh. All right. So those that believe on Yahweh, okay? You know, it says, and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation. Right? The nuclear destruction. It says, but is passed from death. But is passed from death. Right? So how are they going to be passed from death? How are they going to be removed? How are they going to be removed from the death? All right? That's to be translated, you know, to the chariot. All right, let's get that word past.
Strong's G 3327. Metabino. Metabino.
Yeah, that'd be the Greek word for past. All right, and it says, look, it says to pass over. To pass over. All right? To pass over from one place to another. You see that? To remove, depart. And how is that gonna happen when the Lord called, when Yahweh Bashmel Shai, or it's like when the elect is called, you know, what is it? Come up hither, my people. Come up hither. It's like to pass over from one place to another. All right. So Yahweh Shai is speaking about the elect right here. He says, verily, he said, once again, verily, verily I say unto you, he that heareth my word, right, and believeth on him that sent me, who is at the elect, all right, hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation. All right. Slack. Let me read that again. All right. It says, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word, that's right, and believeth on him that sent me, hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation. That's right. But is passed from death unto life. That's right. That life is Yahweh Shai. All right. But is passed from death unto life. Okay. Because the scriptures speak about the second death. All right. The second death that's coming. And that the elect, that second death will have no power of the no power over the elect. All right. But let me read that again. I'm gonna close it out. It says, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. That's right. So yeah, Lord willing, edifying. Until next time, shalom.